Eli's back.
Eli.
What's his name? Corona.
Oh, cool. Okay, here we go. Hey, I'm going to have to find somewhere where this thing's not. There we go, that'll work. Alright, title it. Converting quadratic function to vertex form. I'll have that for you, Maddie. Converting quadratic function to vertex form. Now, most of you can remember when we covered 2-4, we talked about completing the square, right? That completing the square process is going to come into a benefit today. So, but in order to start that, we need to talk about what is the quadratic function. What does a quadratic function look like? No, not quite. What do you think, Casey? No, really, what does a quadratic function look like? Nope, he drilled it. Go. What is it? Okay, so a quadratic function is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. That is a so this is what a quadratic function, and now we're going to take it to vertex form, which is f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So today we're going to do this. All right, everyone ready? Yep, I want you to write that. Okay. The very first problem I do, if you guys want to come up closer to be able to see, come up closer. So you need to come over here to the middle. We're going to get there. These are the formulas. This is quadratic form. This is vertex form. So today we're going to go from quadratic form to vertex form using a bunch of steps. So,
you should enter username.
And
Password.
oh boy. Wait, is this in the which one?
This is for your grade book.
Oh boy. Go back up to the username.
Okay. There you go. Delete it all. There you go.
Good. Okay, so here we go. If we have the quadratic function of this, hey, this is going to be a minus. That's a minus. I'm going to rewrite it again just so we can see it cleanly. If we have that quadratic function right there. All right, we're going to go through all the steps. You guys ready? Derek, question?
Wait.
So the reason why does anyone know why I would use f of x instead of y? No, so the reason why we do that is because it represents a function. Even though it still represents a function, it just, that means f of x or the function. That's why. It just means that. Okay, remember this equation's not there. Even though they're the exact same thing. Okay. Alright. Okay, step number 1. You guys ready? Group ax squared plus bx and factor out the numbers only. So what that's going to look like is this. 3x squared minus 6x minus 1. So we group them inside of parentheses, and I got rid of the f of x. We'll bring it back at the very end. It's still there, we just got rid of it while we do our work. So, what can we factor out of 3x squared plus 6x? And we're not doing the variables, just the numbers. What can we factor out of this? A 3. So it's going to look like this. And if you want to, you can keep it out here. I'm fine with it, whatever you want to do. But okay, so as you guys can see, it's already starting to get into this form. So we already have our A. What's our A? 3, right? This isn't our K yet, but you guys can kind of already start seeing how it's getting into this form. See that? Okay, step 2. Take 1/2 of B and square it. What does that remind you of? Yeah, just barely, right? Well, not I, but yeah, completing the square. So we're going to go -2 times 1/2, which is -1, squared, which is 1. Okay, now this is where it gets different. So everyone needs to pay attention right now. Okay, what was the rule when we completed the square? We had to add it to both sides, right? This is where it's different. So, we're first going to add it after, add it after bx. So it's going to look like this right now. So we add it after bx, so bx is whatever is here, right? So we add it after bx, then multiply it by a, change its sign, and put it on the end also. So add it after bx, then multiply it by a, change its sign, and put it on the end also. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So we already added it after bx, right? Does everyone see where I added it after bx? So now look, this is all I did right here is I just added one after this, but now look. So the first place you add it is right after bx. We got 1 as our thing here, we put it here. Then we're going to multiply it by a. So what's 1 times a? What is a again? 3. And then we change its sign. So what is 3 with the sign changed? -3, and we put it on the end. So you multiply it by a, you change the sign, and you put it on the end.
So, if on step number 2, let's say I was like 10, like it was -10 times up by half, and we would get 25, would the 25 show off with the 2x?
So you'd have a 25 here.
Okay.
You would go 25 times 3, which gives you 75, which would make us, and then you change the sign, which is -75.
Okay.
So now this is going to reduce down to here. Okay. What do you guys think I do next? No, we don't want to distribute. Distribute goes right back to where we were. We already have A out here. We don't want to bring A in. We already have K. What can I do with this right here? The trinomial here. Perfect. Step number 4. Factor the perfect square trinomial in parentheses. So we're going to factor the perfect square trinomial in parentheses. Is x squared perfect? Yep. 1's perfect. We bring down the sign between the ax squared and the bx. We square it, minus 4. So we did that when we completed the square. So just to show you,
So if
we just barely took this from quadratic form to vertex form. So that would have been your answer right there. Because that is vertex form. A times x minus h squared plus k. So there's a reason why we do this. Does anyone have any idea why would we want to do this? First off, you have to be able to complete the square, but there is another way. What does vertex form give us? It's in the name. The vertex of a parabola. So this is this way right here. You'll see from here on out, whenever I graph these, I will, unless b is odd, I will convert it to vertex form and then graph it. I no longer will find the line of symmetry and then plug it back in to find the vertex. Because right here I can already see the vertex. This is my h or my x value. This is my k or my y value. So my vertex in this, and you guys need to know this, your vertex, this is part of your questions on your homework. Your vertex is going to be an ordered pair. Your y is out here. And your x value is right here, but this isn't -1. It's going to be whatever sign's different. So if this is a -1, it's a +1. If this is a +6 right here, it's a -6 in here. Because the formula is x minus h. So if this is a minus already, that means it was a positive when it was the vertex. So the vertex, the x value is always changed. The y value is the same.
so would that also be the answer?
Yep. On Alex, it's going to ask for both of those.
What happens when the beam is on?
So if this, then I find the line of symmetry and do it that way. Okay, let's do another. You guys ready? A lot of work, right? All right, I'm going to make this one quite a bit harder. So. F of x equals 3x squared minus 24x plus 25. Okay, first things first, I'm going to group it. I'm going to group them together. Out of this, I'm going to factor out the numbers. So what number factors out of 3 and 24? 3, which leaves us x squared minus 8x plus 25. Okay, at this point we're going to take 1/2 of b and we're going to square it to make 16. So we take 1/2 of b is negative 8. 1/2 of negative 8 is negative 4, squared is 16. We're going to then add that to both sides. But, sorry, we're not going to add it to both sides. We're going to add it after bx, and then we're going to multiply it by a, which gives us positive 48, and then change the sign. So remember, you multiply it by a, put it on the end with the sign changed.
What did you get 40 get at?
16 times 3 is 48.
Okay, so you got times.
You got to times the number by a,
Okay.
and then put it on the end.
So why does that stop it from going to the other side?
Well, that is on the other side. So look right here. I'm going to take a break right here. This is a pill off. Ready? So when we had this,
Wouldn't it be a positive 48? Or
it would be, but I'm going to show you why it's a negative right now. So if we have this, right? The reason why is because when you added 16, technically that's not 16 because there's a 3 out here, so it's 48. But you remember, complete the square said we're going to add it to both sides. So we're adding it to the both sides. Well, that 48 starts off over here on this side of the equal sign. So you have to bring it over, so you subtract 48 from both sides.
Really, you're just skipping a step.
What? 16 times 3. Remember, your number times by a.
B.
So you're just,
That's C.
Well, this is C now, yep. So C, your number that you found right here.
Oh, so we ate at 8 times 3.
No, 16 times 3 is 48. 8 times 3 is 24.
It says multiply bx by a. That's C that you're multiplying by.
Where does it say multiply bx?
You wrote it down. Step 3.
I don't think I ever said multiply bx.
Add it
After, then multiply it by a. Change the sign. Okay. So we find our new number. Now we're to here, but that's where it comes from. That's why the sign's changed. Is because when we do it, complete the square, we add it to both sides, right? So technically there'd be a positive 48 over here, and then you have to subtract it. Now look, now if it was a negative, so if this happened to be like a negative 3 out here, which we'll do one of those next, I'll find one, then it would be added, because you'd have 16 times a negative 3, which is a negative 48. Because it's a negative 48, you have to change the sign, which makes positive over there.
so you're just skipping a step by minusing.
Yep. I used to teach it where we used to do it the other way, and it used to confuse people farther. So, all right. So now we're here. Now all we got to do is just simplify. So is that negative 23, right? No, I didn't mean to write equals. So it's just minus 23. Okay, who can remember what comes next?
you factor the inside.
Okay, factor that trinomial for me, Preston.
X plus 4
X,
minus 4.
that sign. This is the sign you use. So x squared becomes x, 16 becomes 4, minus comes down right there, squared minus 23. So there's vertex form, so that's one of your answers right there. Okay, x, we're factoring this perfect square trinomial. X squared becomes x, 16 becomes 4 squared. The 8 is inside of here. If you went back through and FOILed x minus 4 times x minus 4, it'd go back to this. Okay, what is the vertex? Who can tell me what my vertex is?
4 negative 23.
4 and negative 23, awesome. And that's also going to be part of your vertex. Part of your answer. I'm going to find one where a is negative real quick. Give me a sec. Oh, there it was. Oh, no. There we go. No, I don't want that one. Okay. It does change a little bit when a is negative. goodness, I forgot to turn on the TV. Kenston, will you turn on the TV? Bullfrog. I am. Esme Curran, I'm so sorry. I forgot to turn on the TV. Have you been able to see this okay, though? Okay. You can blame it on Kaysen. I'm going to show you Kaysen. You can blame it on Kaysen. That's who you can blame it on. He's supposed to remind me and he didn't, so.
How dare you?
Yes. There he is. See, I got him right there. I'm so sorry. I got to do better remembering. That was a bad. So, all right. So you guys are here for this, and at least you get a hair, one or two here. All right, good. Kaysen, dang you, man. You had one job. One job. Okay, here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to group ax squared plus bx. So we're going to group them. Here we go.
So would it be -2 of an each?
Okay. So now what number, so you factor out a, basically. As everyone else figured that out, you're going to factor out whatever a is. So a in this case is -2, which leaves us x squared. Now this is going to be kind of tricky. What happens here? What's going to be left over right here? Not negative. How many times does -2 go into 6? Yeah, it's -8x minus 31. Good, because you factor out a negative, it has to change that other sign. Okay. Let's do it. Take 1/2 of b squared gives us 16. Okay, so this is the tricky part, right? We're going to first add it. Whatever it is, it's a positive 16, so it stays positive right there. And then we're going to go 16 times a, which is -32. So what are we going to put on the end? Yup. Yeah, so plus 32, which becomes 16 times -2 is a -32, and then you put it on the end with the sign change. So now we're to here. All right. Now we have a perfect square trinomial, right? At this point, you should better factor that thing down. So x squared becomes x. 16 becomes 4. You bring down the sign between x squared and 8x. You square it plus 1. So there's one of your answers right there. There it is, written in vertex form. So what's the vertex? 4 and +1. There's your vertex. Okay, I'm going to let you guys try one on your own. You guys ready? Who's ready to try one on your own? Everyone is. Good. All right. Your guys' call. Do you guys want A positive or A negative?